I'll never forget the day I graduated from college. It was supposed to be the happiest moment of my life. 4 years of sleepless nights, endless assignments, and part-time jobs had finally led to this. I stood there in my cap and gown, clutching my diploma, surrounded by families celebrating their children's achievements. Everyone was taking photos, hugging, crying happy tears. But when I looked around for my parents, I saw them standing off to the side. My mom was on her phone, barely paying attention. My dad was checking his watch like he had somewhere better to be. They didn't rush over to hug me. They didn't cry. They just existed there, like they were attending someone else's celebration. Still, I tried to be grateful. They showed up, right? That's what mattered. After the ceremony, we went to a small restaurant for lunch. Nothing fancy, just a casual place near campus. My parents ordered their food, made small talk about the weather, and then my mom reached into her purse. "Oh, sweetie," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Grandma Rose wanted us to give you this. She couldn't make it today, but she's so proud of you." She handed me an envelope. I opened it carefully, expecting maybe a heartfelt card and some cash. Inside was $200 and a simple note that read, "Congratulations on your graduation, my darling Emma. Love always, Grandma Rose." $200. It was generous, don't get me wrong, but something felt off. Grandma Rose was always so extra about everything. She sent flowers for my high school graduation. She called me every week during college just to check in. Why wouldn't she come to this? Why such a simple note? I pushed the thought away. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. Maybe travel was hard for her now. I thanked my parents, tucked the envelope in my purse, and tried to enjoy the rest of lunch. But my dad kept checking his phone. My mom seemed distracted. And when the bill came, my dad made a comment that stuck with me. "Well, at least that's done," he said, almost like he was relieved. "Now you can get a job and start taking care of yourself." "No, we're proud of you. No, you worked so hard." Just relief that I was no longer their responsibility. I went home that evening feeling empty. I should have been celebrating, but instead I felt like I'd just crossed a finish line no one cared about. Little did I know, that envelope from Grandma Rose was about to unravel everything I thought I knew about my parents. 3 weeks passed after graduation. I was deep in job applications, living in my tiny apartment that I could barely afford on my savings. My parents had made it clear I was on my own now, and honestly, I was okay with that. I'd been independent for most of college anyway. Then, one Saturday afternoon, my phone rang. It was Grandma Rose. "Emma." "Sweetheart." Her voice was warm and full of life, just like always. "How are you, my love? I've been thinking about you non-stop since your graduation." I smiled. Just hearing her voice made me feel better. "Hi, Grandma. I'm doing okay. Thank you so much for the money you sent. It really helped." There was a pause. A long, uncomfortable pause. "The money?" she said slowly. "What money, darling?" My heart skipped a beat. The $200. Mom and Dad gave it to me after the ceremony. They said it was from you." Another pause. This one felt heavier. "Emma," Grandma Rose said, and I could hear something shifting in her tone. "I didn't send $200. My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "I sent you $18,000, sweetheart." The world stopped spinning. I thought I'd misheard her. "What?" $18,000, she repeated firmly. "I put it in a check made out to you. I sent it to your parents' house a month before graduation so they could give it to you on your special day. I wanted you to have something to help you start your life, pay off loans, get a car, whatever you needed. I worked hard to save that money for you." I couldn't breathe. $18,000. $18,000. "Grandma, I only got $200. And it was cash in an envelope with a note. I could hear her breathing quicken on the other end. "A note? Emma, I wrote you a 3-page letter. I poured my heart into it, and it was a check, not cash. A check with your name on it." My hands were shaking. My mind was racing. Where was the money? Where was the real letter? Why would my parents? "Emma, did your parents give you the check?" Grandma Rose's voice was sharp now, angry. "Did they say anything else?" "No," I whispered. "They just handed me the envelope and said you couldn't make it to graduation. That's it." Grandma Rose went silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was cold and hard. Those bastards. I'd never heard her curse before. Never. Grandma, what? Emma, your parents cashed that check. I'm sure of it. They stole your graduation money. The words hit me like a freight train. Stole. My own parents. Stole from me. I'm going to call them right now, Grandma Rose said, her voice shaking with fury. This is not okay. That money was for you. Wait, Grandma, please. But she'd already hung up. I sat there in my apartment, staring at my phone, feeling like the floor had just disappeared beneath me. $18,000. Gone. Stolen by the two people who were supposed to protect me. And suddenly, every weird moment from graduation day made sense. My dad's relief. My mom's distraction. They knew. They knew what they'd done, and they handed me $200 like it was nothing. I felt sick, betrayed, angry, but most of all, I felt stupid for not questioning it sooner. Within an hour, my phone exploded with messages from my parents. Angry messages, defensive messages, messages telling me I was ungrateful and stirring up drama, and that I should mind my own business. Not once did they deny it. Not once did they say, "We didn't take your money." They just attacked me for finding out. That's when I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was theft. Planned, deliberate theft from their own daughter. And I wasn't going to let them get away with it. I didn't respond to their messages. Not right away. I needed to think. I needed proof. And I needed a plan. First, I called Grandma Rose back. She was still furious, but she'd calmed down enough to talk strategy. I have the bank records, she said. I can prove I sent that check to their address. I can prove it was made out to you. And if they cashed it, there will be a record of that too. Can you send me copies? I asked. Already done, sweetheart. Check your email. I opened my laptop, and there it was. A scanned copy of the check. $18,000. Made out to Emma Carter. Sent to my parents' address with delivery confirmation. And beneath it, a bank statement showing the check had been cashed 3 days after it was delivered. But here's the kicker. The signature on the back of the check wasn't mine. It was forged. Someone had tried to copy my signature, but it was sloppy, too curvy, too confident. It looked nothing like how I actually sign my name. They'd committed fraud. Actual, legal fraud. I took a deep breath and decided to call my parents. Not to yell, not to cry, but to give them one chance to come clean. My mom answered on the second ring. Emma, I don't know what your grandmother told you, but did you cash a check that was made out to me? I asked calmly. Silence. Mom, did you? It's complicated, she said defensively. You don't understand. Did you cash it? We needed that money, Emma, she snapped. Do you know how expensive it was to raise you? Do you know how much we sacrificed? That money was basically payback for everything we've done for you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Payback? That was my graduation gift. From Grandma. It had my name on it. You're being selfish, my dad's voice cut in. He must have been listening on speaker. We're your parents. We gave you life. You owe us. I owe you? I repeated slowly. You stole $18,000 from me, forged my signature, and lied to my face. And I owe you? Don't you dare accuse us of stealing, my mom shouted. We're family. Family helps each other. Then why didn't you ask me? I shot back. Why didn't you say, hey, Emma, we're in a tough spot. Can we borrow some of this money? Why lie? Why forge my name? No answer. You know what? I said quietly. I have copies of the check. I have proof you cashed it. I have proof you forged my signature. And if you don't return every single cent by the end of the week, I'm going to the police. My mom laughed. Actually laughed. You wouldn't. Try me. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt strangely calm. For the first time in my life, I wasn't backing down. I wasn't letting them guilt me or manipulate me. I was standing up for myself. And I meant every word. If they didn't return the money, I was going to make sure they faced consequences. They didn't return the money. Of course they didn't. Instead, they sent me a long text message the next day, playing the victim, talking about how hurt they were that I'd threatened them, how I was tearing the family apart, how Grandma Rose had poisoned me against them. Not one apology, not one admission of guilt, just deflection and manipulation. So I did exactly what I said I would. I went to the police. I brought copies of the check, the bank records, and examples of my real signature versus the forged one. I filed a report for fraud and identity theft. The officer who took my statement looked at the evidence and nodded grimly. "This is pretty clear-cut," he said. "Forging someone's signature to cash a check is a felony. You're doing the right thing." I also contacted a lawyer. Grandma Rose insisted on paying for it, and together we sent my parents a formal demand letter. Return the $18,000 within 14 days, or face legal action. Criminal charges were already in motion, but this gave them one last chance to make things right. They ignored it. They actually ignored it. So the lawyer moved forward. We filed a civil lawsuit for the full amount plus damages, and the police opened an investigation. Suddenly, my parents weren't laughing anymore. My dad called me, frantic. "Emma, you need to drop this. You're going to ruin us. Do you understand? We could go to jail." "You should have thought about that before you stole from me," I said coldly. "Please, Emma," my mom begged in the background. "We're sorry, okay? We made a mistake. We'll pay you back. Just drop the charges." "You had 2 weeks to pay me back," I said. "You ignored the demand letter. You called me selfish. You said I owed you. So no, I'm not dropping anything." "You're a vindictive little," my dad started, but I hung up before he could finish. Over the next few weeks, things moved fast. The police investigation confirmed the forgery. My parents tried to claim it was a misunderstanding, but the evidence was overwhelming. They'd cashed a check that wasn't theirs, forged my signature, and spent the money on themselves, a new TV, a vacation, home repairs, things they wanted, not needed. The civil lawsuit moved forward too. My parents tried to countersue, claiming I was causing them emotional distress. The judge threw it out immediately. Finally, they broke. They agreed to a settlement. They'd pay back the full $18,000 in installments, plus court fees and legal expenses. They'd also have to plead guilty to a lesser charge of fraud to avoid jail time, which meant probation, community service, and a permanent mark on their record. When the final check arrived in the mail, the real check this time, made out to me, signed by them, I stared at it for a long time. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel happy. I just felt sad. Sad that it had come to this. Sad that my own parents valued money more than they valued me. But I also felt free. Free from their manipulation. Free from their guilt trips. Free from feeling like I owed them something just for existing. It's been 2 years since all of that happened. I used the money to pay off my student loans and start my own small business. I'm doing well now, better than I ever thought I would be. My relationship with my parents? It's non-existent. They've tried to reach out a few times, mostly through other family members, but I've kept my distance. Some people think I'm too harsh. They say, "They're still your parents. Family is family." But here's the thing I've learned. Family isn't about blood. It's about respect. It's about trust. It's about showing up for the people you love and not betraying them when it's convenient. My parents showed me exactly who they were that day, and I chose to believe them. Grandma Rose and I are closer than ever. She tells me all the time how proud she is of me, not just for standing up to my parents, but for building a life for myself despite everything. She's the real family I needed all along. So what's the lesson here? What's the moral of this whole mess? It's simple. Asterisk. Asterisk. Never let anyone, not even family, steal your worth. Asterisk. Asterisk. Whether it's money, opportunities, dreams, or respect, you have every right to protect what's yours. And if standing up for yourself means cutting toxic people out of your life, even if they're blood, then that's what you do. Betrayal hurts. Especially when it comes from the people who are supposed to love you most. But letting them get away with it? That hurts even more. Because it teaches them that you'll always be their doormat. I refuse to be that, and I don't regret it for a second. Sometimes, revenge isn't about being cruel. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about saying, "You don't get to treat me like this." It's about justice. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply moving forward without them. My name is Emma. And this is how I learned that the people who truly love you would never steal from you, not your money, not your joy, and definitely not your future.